So last week I went shopping with my girlfriend. We went to a couple of stores, mainly for clothes, right? So we go shopping to about like 5 or 6 stores. We weren't looking, we were just kind of looking for one, like she was looking for like one top or something, and I was just kind of there to maybe see if there was something interesting. We went to like Aeropostale, Zoomies, and some other stores that I kind of forgot. We went to Adidas, low key, copped some nice Adidas shoes for like $30, and that was pretty fire. But in almost all of the stores that we went to, I saw like Barcelona merch on the like as soon as you walk in, there's like a mannequin wearing a Barca shirt. In particular, I remember this in Aeropostale, however you pronounce it, and I saw a Brazil like jersey, and I was like, well, I've never seen like soccer here, or jerseys, I guess, for that matter. So it was kind of interesting, and I went to another store and they had kind of like the same thing. I feel like everywhere I go I just see like soccer like jerseys, or like an F1 is kind of a thing right now. And if not that, oh, we went to Old Navy and it was like a bunch. Oh, they also had soccer. They had Messi merch. And then on top of that, they had like these vintage like 90s looking, just like these big graphics, big like text and words that just like look like they were thrifted or from the 90s, but they're like mass produced and like brand new, right? So I really don't like how everywhere is selling like the same thing. It feels like they're shipping out like it's like forced, like a bandwagon of sorts of like 3 different types of styles, I guess, but they're all kind of the same. It's like fake thrifting, or soccer, or F1, and also just like any other brand that was like unique back in the 90s, and they're just suddenly bringing back, and now it's like a crazy fashion staple. And an example of this that I could think of is like Umbro. I think Umbro is pretty cool. Like I have no hate. I actually really like love Umbro because of how they're a soccer jersey manufacturer. They're based in I think Great Britain. International stuff. It's really cool, and they're good quality. Make a lot of cleats as well. At least I think they used to, like growing up. But now it's kind of just like a fashion trend brand that's like playing on the niche of like soccer, because soccer is just so in right now. All soccer things are basically being gentrified for the masses, I guess you could say. Like a really prime example of this is the Samba shoes. Like I remember when Sambas, growing up, I mean Sambas have been around literally since forever, and I was like a kid. I would see them at Sports Authority back when that existed, and I remember thinking, hey, this is a pretty cool shoe. I never like owned a pair because I didn't play that much soccer, but I was more or less a watcher. But I always kept my eye on it, and it was a futsal shoe. It was a shoe that people use to play soccer indoors, right? I'm pretty sure if you Google that, that's what it'll say as well. So I know that I'm not just capping, right? I'm not just gatekeeping. Like that's what it was for. About a couple years ago, I was doing like an indie film shoot with one of my friends, and there's like a group of people there, right? It was like a lot of actors and crew. So just to make conversation, there was like a girl that I kind of knew, and in between passing, I saw she had a pair of Sambas on, and this was like before they're huge now. They're a big like staple in fashion or whatever. It's everywhere. You don't know what a Samba is now. Like you don't not know what a Samba is. You know what I'm saying? So like this was before all that, and I just took note that she had a pair of Sambas. So I was, just to make convo, I was like, oh hey, do you play soccer? I see you got some soccer shoes on. You got like the futsal shoes, because that's totally what I knew them for at the time. Like I did not see anybody wear these unless they were soccer players, and I didn't know her too well. So and she was she seemed like she could be a soccer player. So I was like, I assumed. And she was like, no, like I had never played it. So I was like, oh, I mean, I just thought you did because, you know, you have like those shoes and I thought they were soccer shoes. She's like, no, I just saw them online and I thought they looked pretty cool. So like, I just have a pair. I'm like, yeah, looks cool. Like, nice. You know, that was it. But in my head, I was thinking, huh, interesting. Um, and then lo and behold, like a year later, they are all over the world. Just literally everybody has them. Any store you walk into, they're like the most popular shoes. And they completely took over like the sneaker, like not sneaker. I mean, yeah, it's not a sneaker, but or is it a sneaker? I don't even know. But uh, all the shoe goers, it's the hype right now, right? So everybody has a pair, and I just it's really cool, but also I think it kind of stinks because now it's just kind of like a fashion shoe. It's just kind of like a mainstream shoe, right? I hate, you know, not to be a hipster, but it's just kind of this shoe that people wear now to look cool. And in my opinion, it's completely gentrified of its original, you know, history and its character of being like a soccer shoe, you know. Back in the day, if you saw someone wear those shoes, you know, they were soccer players. They had personality, right? It's like a trait of some sort. Sporty person, maybe. More old timey. But now it's just kind of a shoe where like it has no personality anymore because everyone has them and people only get it just to look cool because they want to look different. You know, I think that's why it became so popular is because they were so different to what was popular at the time, like the big blocky shoes. And then it became popular because it was something so like it looked nice and it was different. And now that's the mainstream. And to circumvent that, they invented like all these other samba looking things that aren't actually sambas, like the gazelles. I don't know, those were probably around for a long time, but you know, that's kind of like nowadays people are buying the gazelles over the sambas because they're not sambas, you know, but they basically are sambas. So or like the specials, other ones that are similar, Veredas. I have a pair of those, and I literally got them because I just didn't want to get sambas. You know, they look nice, but I don't take fashion seriously. I just kind of more or less buy what I can afford, and sambas are $100. So it's like, why am I gonna spend $100 in a shoe that everybody has? So I don't know, and it's not like I hate people who wear them. You know, people wear them; they look cool, definitely. But you know, it's just kind of like something that lost its specialty that kind of was cool to me back then and just isn't really cool now. So that kind of stinks. It kind of like drains the life out of something, in my opinion. And yeah, it's especially for something that like soccer's culture is so deep and so colorful. To have that killed in a shoe that was so special to that culture, like damn, like that's a big loss. And it's not just with soccer, but I see it with a lot of things. I mean, the same with that, with the Samba shoe, the same principle I can assign to like the whole craze with like Brazil jerseys and Chelsea, you know, soccer jerseys in general are just kind of being used for fashion now because they're stylish. And I don't know, they're just kind of like the main wave of looking cool right now. So, you know, people are wearing like a pair of Sambas with some really baggy jeans or cargo pants or something, and then like slap on like a soccer jersey or something. Super cool, but like I said, I think it'd be even cooler if you like for me, for example, like I had a lot of soccer jerseys. Not necessarily back in the day. I still have a few, and I've been getting more because they've become more available, I guess. It's one pro of this whole movement of, you know, whatever, but I only got jerseys that I like actually like, you know, messed with or with players, you know what I mean? Like that I actually know the history of and whatever. But you know, now that it's like a main trend, it's like it doesn't really matter. People will probably see that and just assume like, oh, you know, people just buy things to look cool. I understand that. That's always going to be a thing. It's fashion at the end of the day. But also, not to mention that when things become the main staple, like Sambas, for example, their quality of the shoe like dropped significantly because they just started getting pumped out uh super quickly to meet the demand of everybody trying to buy one, and the quality literally dropped. They became like way more crappier. So besides that, I mean, something you could apply the same principle to would be like something like I see these all the time at Marshalls now, like the Ed Hardy t-shirts or like pants, just merch in general, like their clothing. Ed Hardy's like a brand that I really never knew about. Um, and then about like a year ago, they started popping up all over TJ Maxx or Marshall stores, right? And my girlfriend's like super fond of it. She kind of knows about it. I think it's mainly a motorcycle thing. Like it's a motorcycle brand, and it kind of looks like it. So I think it's true. But my girlfriend basically, because her dad was a big like motorcyclist, she knew about it and kind of brings her back to like her childhood in a way because her dad had some. So it's cool for her, and I think that's a really cool part of bringing these things back for sure. Now I see them all the time at Marshalls, and it's just kind of another wave of streetwear. I guess you could say it's just streetwear, right? It's now just like a popular streetwear item that teenagers are buying to look cool and whatnot, or young adults and stuff. But yeah, so in my opinion, I can look at that and think, well, it's not a motorcycling thing anymore, So I bet there was some diehard motorcycle like people out there who had it since day one who feel bummed out about like now they have all their merch that just looks generic because everybody has it. And I guess that's nobody's fault. It's just a thing that happens. Carhartt is also a good example of this because Carhartt was literally just clothing made for construction workers and like blue collar workers. But then it became like a cool like streetwear thing, and now what really sucks, I think, is the price went up crazy for like just a regular t-shirt that used to be made for like blue collar, just needed a pair of working t-shirts and working working gear, I guess you could say, like clothing, because they need to be like industrial grade quality, otherwise like you can't be out there with some cheap t-shirt. But then like since it became cool, quote unquote, I think the price went up crazy, and that poses an issue for people who are using that to work. Now you got to spend an extra 1.5 times the price of it to work just because it became cool looking and people started buying a shit ton, and I guess, this all goes back to basic supply and demand. I understand that, but dang, like it's kind of like draining for me to go into any store and then just see what's being pumped out to everybody. It's like it doesn't even feel like, who even makes these decisions, like who is out here choosing what's popular now? Like how did Marshalls just start pumping out a bunch of Ed Hardy shirts? Who made that choice? That's interesting. I guess it worked because there are a lot of people wearing that merch. It's not just the stores, the stores are selling what people are buying, I guess, to the end of the day. But yeah, I went to Zoomies. I saw a whole rack of Ed Hardy t-shirts. So it's interesting. It's not just, it's everywhere. It's just an interesting thing to think about. But yeah.